SIHH 2018. So it is late January, which means SIHH is completely over now. So I thought it'd be cool to bring you guys a quick little cool episode on my top 3 favorite watches from SIHH. And let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, so quick wristwatch check. I am rocking my 2017 SIHH debut, which is the JLC sector dial. I'm sure at this point you guys may have seen the video from a couple weeks back where I sort of discussed the acquisition of this grail. Shout out to Federico from Del Rey Watch / Federico Talks Watches for getting this watch for me. Absolutely love it. Still completely enamored by its beauty and the quality of the leather and the movement on the back and just everything in general. So, anyways, a quick segue from the sector dial 2017 issue to JLC. I know you guys probably want to know my thoughts on the 2018 JLC launches, and to be honest, how should I say this? Nothing really stood out to me. There's nothing that's on my want list from 2018 SIHH from JLC. Of course, they have the entire new Polaris line, which when I saw, I thought it was very cool, but it just didn't really jump out and kind of pull at my heartstrings. Not really a huge fan. I do kind of like the standard model that comes on the integrated rubber strap. I think it's a pretty beautiful sports watch, kind of entry-level sports watch that maybe someone might want to get. So if you're into that, go for it. But overall, JLC didn't really do it for me this year. So I'll stick with my 2017 JLC issue. Anyways, moving on from the sector dial to my first pick, and that is the Vacheron Constantin 56. So this is kind of a new entry-level dress watch from Vacheron Constantin. You guys will see some pictures up on the screen right about now. Comes in 2 different metals. It comes in a steel version and a pink gold version. The pink gold's absolutely beautiful, but I kind of want to focus on the steel version here because it reminds me very much of my JLC sector dial. So when JLC announced this watch, this was sort of an entry into their entire line, if you will. It's kind of like my entry into hot horology. I think it was priced something like $500 less than the standard Master Control. And so this Vacheron, the thing I like it the most, first of all, is the price point. Yes, it's between $11,000 and $12,000, which is still pretty insane, but when you consider the fact that it's an entry point into the holy trinity of watchmaking, I think it lends itself as kind of a value prop in that way, especially when you start looking at maybe gray market prices or used prices in a year or 2 from now. I also really love the aesthetics. One of the things about the Master Control from JLC, for the most part, that entire line is extremely conservative. You look at the moon phase versions, Reserve de Marche, all of them are sort of very classic, clean, and conservative. And I just think this the sector dial sort of brought this youthful approach with the sector, the actual sector dial itself in the numerals. And I think the 56 also sort of brings that same thing to the table with the numerals, the sort of aesthetic of the dial, and I believe it comes on a stock gray straps. So I think it's sort of reaching out to maybe even some of the later millennials or like wealthier millennials or even older people that sort of like that new kind of youthful vibe. So that's number 1, the Vacheron Constantin. Alright, so moving on to pick number 2, and that is the A. Lange & Söhne outsized date Saxonia. So Saxonia, very reserved, cool, nice dress watch, right? Sort of considered, I guess, one of kind of their entry level. Actually, I don't know if you could call anything really an entry level in a Lange. Basically, anything that isn't a grand complication or has some type of complication is kind of entry level. But that's besides the point. This is a 38.5 millimeter, 9.6 millimeter thick, perfectly sized dress watch. And the thing that separates this from any other Saxonia, sort of from the past, is the fact that it has those 2 very German-like double date, has that double date window right at the top. And if I recall correctly, this was only available in a moon phase with a moon phase complication previously. So nothing too crazy about this watch. I do love German watches. I have a Nomos. I've had various different German tool watches, and I respect Lange so much, and Lange is definitely on my grail list, probably a Lange 1, but one of my favorite things is that giant double date window. And the fact that they now include that on a very simple, elegant, refined Saxonia makes this one of my top 3 picks from SIHH. And my last and final pick is the new Panerai Luminor Due, the 38mm. So would I wear a 38mm Panerai? Hell no. I would always go for the 44mm Panerai every single time, or the 45mm Radomir. But as you guys may or not know, Panerai not long ago came out with the 42mm. So, couple great things about this 38. I know there are some guys that really do prefer much smaller watches. And while I don't even think that the 44 wears extremely large, and I think it's suited for really any guy, even with smaller wrists, I can totally understand the 38mm logic. But what I think the 38mm Panerai is perfect for is the female demographic. So I know big watches are in, and a lot of women will sort of offer 44mm Panerais. I know my girlfriend, for instance, loves the 44. I know she would never even wear a 42, let alone a 38. But I do think that Panerai was alienating, I don't know if it's a significant portion of the market, but definitely some type of market of women that probably did not want to wear it because it was so massive. And I think this 38mm move is probably a smart one, and will probably reintroduce a lot more women and maybe some new men to the entire Panerai line. So the whole fact that it's kind of a little bit thinner and only 100-meter water resistant, has a stamped case back, I'm not going to bring all that up. I've already talked about that in my Panerai Luminor review video a couple months back. You guys can go ahead and check that out. I'm not a fan of that, but I do think the 38mm case size is great for a new demographic that Panerai possibly has not reached. Anyway, guys, those are my 3 picks from SIHH 2018. Let me know in the comments what you guys pick as your top 3 favorite. Let me know if you hate the ones that I mentioned. As always, follow us on our Facebook group at Properly Wound. Ton of discussion every single day. A lot of great postings. Anything from Seikos all the way up to Lange's and Richard Mille's. You'll find everything in the group, and everyone is super cool and loves to see what other people post. So I'll talk to you later, guys. Stick around. I got a couple reviews in the works. So hit the subscribe button if you have not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.